She was pregnant, alone, and starving on a dusty street when a quiet cowboy stopped walking. Before we begin, comment your country so I know where the story's reaching. Clara sat on the old wooden step outside Redwater's grain office, holding her belly as hunger twisted through her. Days on the road had drained every ounce of strength. She whispered apologies to the child inside, wishing she had anything left to offer. When footsteps approached, she didn't bother lifting her head. Folks passed her all morning without slowing. But these boots stopped. Eli Mercer stood a few feet away, hat shading his eyes. He had come to town for rope and flour, not strangers in need. But something about Clara's trembling hands made him pause. He cleared his throat softly. "Ma'am, you look like you could use a meal." Clara tried to push out a brave voice, but failed. "I'm fine," she whispered. "You're not," Eli said, "and you don't have to pretend with me." She finally looked up, expecting judgment. Instead, she saw concern, steady, quiet, unhurried. "I don't have anything to offer in return," she murmured. "I didn't come asking for anything." Clara blinked slowly. "Why stop for me?" Eli knelt to her level. "Because no woman carrying a child should be begging for bread in the heat of the day." Clara's breath shook. "People don't usually notice. They walk around me like I'm not here." "I noticed," Eli said, "and I'm not walking away." He extended a hand. She hesitated. Pride tugged one direction, hunger the other. "You're safe with me," he added. Her fingers finally reached out. Eli helped her stand, keeping one steady hand at her elbow. Her legs wobbled, and Clara winced. "You haven't eaten in how long?" he asked. 2 days, she admitted. "Maybe 3. Time blurs when you're empty. We're fixing that now." They walked toward the cafe. Clara whispered, "I'm not sure I deserve kindness from a stranger." Eli glanced at her. "Everyone deserves kindness. Some folks just need it more than most." Inside, the smell of stew hit her like a memory. Her eyes watered. Eli guided her to a seat. "Sit. I'll order." She shook her head. "I don't want to be a burden." "You're not," he said firmly. When the food arrived, Clara's hands trembled too much to lift the spoon. Eli pushed it gently toward her. "Eat, slow as you need." She tasted the first bite, closed her eyes, and let out a sound halfway between relief and grief. "I thought I'd die out there," she whispered. "Not on my watch." Clara looked at him for a long moment. "Why do you care what happens to me?" Eli leaned back, thinking, "I've seen enough hardship to know when someone's at their breaking point, and I've been there myself." Clara studied him. "You?" He nodded. "Lost my wife 3 winters ago. Took me months to find a reason to get up in the morning. Folks helped me. Now I help where I can." Her expression softened. "I'm sorry. Don't be. Life knocks us all down. But it doesn't have to keep us there." Clara stared at the empty bowl, then at Eli. "What happens after this meal?" "I don't have a place to stay. I barely have the strength to walk to the edge of town." Eli paused, then spoke with quiet certainty. "You'll come with me." She tensed. I can't repay you. I didn't ask for payment. People don't do things for nothing." "I'm not people," he replied. Clara swallowed. "Why offer me a place?" "Because you're carrying a child," he said. "Because you're alone. Because I have a cabin with an empty guest room. And because no woman in your condition should sleep on dirt." She looked overwhelmed. "You don't even know me." "I know enough," he said. "Enough to not leave you here." Clara's voice cracked. "Eli, why me?" "Because you needed someone to stop. And I'm someone who did." She covered her eyes with one shaking hand. "If I come with you, what do you expect from me?" "Nothing but honesty," he said. "And to let me help you until you're strong enough to choose your next step." Clara lowered her hand slowly. "You're serious. As serious as a man can be." A long silence settled, warm and fragile. Finally, Clara whispered the words she'd been afraid to say aloud. Then, "Yes, I'll go with you." Eli nodded once. "Good. Then from this moment on," he stood, offering his hand again. "You'll eat with me from now on." Eli led Clara out of the cafe slowly, letting her lean on his arm while she adjusted to the feeling of food warming her body again. The sun had dipped lower, softening the harsh heat of the day, and the shadows and red water stretched long across the ground. Clara walked carefully, as though one wrong step might undo the fragile strength she had just reclaimed. Eli didn't rush her. His pace matched hers without comment. When they reached his horse, Clara hesitated. "I don't know if I can ride," she whispered. "You don't have to," Eli said. He tapped the side of his wagon parked near the livery. "Brought this for supplies. You can rest in the back while I drive." Clara let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. "Thank you," she murmured. Eli helped her climb into the wagon, arranging a folded blanket, so she'd have something soft beneath her. As he secured the last strap, Clara spoke again. "Why are you being so gentle with me? You don't owe me anything." Eli rested one hand on the wagon's edge. "Kindness isn't a debt. It's a choice." Clara looked away, struggling to accept the simple truth in his words. She had met men before who pretended kindness, only to demand something later. Eli didn't carry that shadow around him. As the wagon rolled out of town, Clara watched the last buildings fade behind them. "Where exactly are you taking me?" she asked quietly. "My place is 8 miles east," Eli said. "Small cabin. Nothing fancy. But safe. Clear. Eli's can." They rode in silence for a while, the wheels crunching over dry earth. Clara's fingers traced her stomach absent-mindedly. "My husband died last winter," she said suddenly. "A fever took him fast. I thought I'd be all right on my own. Turns out I was wrong." "So, no. It changed everything," Clara whispered. "People look at a widow differently. Some pity, some avoid, some want things I won't give. Or, why?" she asked again, softer this time. Eli exhaled. "Because I know what it's like to lose someone. And because I'm not the kind of man who sees a woman starving and rides away." Clara let his words settle into her chest like warmth from a fire. After a moment, she said, "I had a name picked for the baby, if it's a girl." "What name?" Eli asked. "Lena," Clara said. "It was my mother's name." "It's a good one," he answered. Clara smiled faintly. It was the first time she had smiled in days. Eli continued, "And if it's a boy?" Clara looked toward the horizon. "I don't know yet. I didn't want to choose alone." So kept. Clara swallowed hard. "Eli, I don't want to be a burden to you." And Clara's voice thinned. "I'm trying." "I know." The wagon slowed as they approached a rise in the land. From the top, Clara saw a small cabin tucked near a line of cottonwood trees, smoke drifting from the chimney in a calm, steady ribbon. "That's home," Eli said. Clara stared at it for a long moment. "It's peaceful." "That's the idea," he replied. "And it is clear. Been alone a long while," Eli admitted. She faced him. "And now you're letting me stay." "Not letting," he said. "Inviting." Clara's eyes shined. "That means more than you know." Eli nodded. Clara stepped closer. "Eli, may I ask you something?" "Anything." "What do you expect from me while I'm here?" Eli met her gaze without flinching. "Expect? Nothing. Hope that you heal, that you find your strength again, that you let yourself breathe." Clara's voice broke slightly. "I can try." "There are—" She looked around the cabin once more. "It feels strange, being somewhere safe." "You'll get used to it," Eli said quietly. Clara nodded. I think I will." And for the first time since her journey began, she believed it. Clara woke the next morning to the soft crackle of the fire and the low hum of someone moving quietly through the cabin. For a moment, she didn't remember where she was. Then she saw the quilt tucked around her, the sunlight spilling gently across the wooden floor, and she exhaled with a relief she hadn't felt in months. She sat up slowly, noticing the steadiness in her body that hadn't been there the day before. Eli was at the stove, stirring something warm. "Morning," he said without turning. "Hope you're hungry." Clara smiled faintly. "I can eat." "That's good," he said. "You need your strength." She watched him in the stillness, noticing the care in his movements. No rush, no edge, no expectation. Just steadiness. When he handed her a bowl, Clara cupped it gratefully, letting the heat sink into her fingers. Or, he shrugged gently, everyone deserves someone looking out for them. Clara ate slowly, savoring each bite. You hardly know me. I know you're someone who needed help, he replied, and someone I'm glad to have here. Her breath caught lightly. Glad? That is... Clara lowered her gaze, touched more deeply than she expected. When she finished eating, Eli gathered the dishes, and she moved to stand. Sit, he said. I can help, Clara insisted. And you will, he said. But not today. Clara hesitated, then sat again. Eli, what happens now? Now, he repeated. Now you rest. You settle in. You let this place be yours for a while. Clara breathed in slowly. I'm not used to belonging anywhere. Well, Eli said softly, you belong here as long as you want to. Clara felt tears rise unexpectedly. Thank you. Later that afternoon, she stepped outside, walking the small yard behind the cabin. The air was crisp and clean, the cottonwood leaves whispering overhead. She placed a hand on her belly and whispered, We're safe now. Eli joined her after a moment. Feeling stronger? Yes, she said. Stronger than I thought I could feel again. That is, Clara met his eyes. What if I stay, Eli? What if I stay longer than I planned? Then I'll be here, he said simply. And if I can't repay you? You're not a debt, he said. You're a person. Clara took a breath that trembled into a smile. I don't want to leave. Then don't, he said. Evening softened the sky into shades of rose and gold as they stood together. Clara's shoulders relaxed for the first time in months, and Eli stood beside her, steady as the land he worked. Eli, she said quietly, I'm scared, Hope. He looked at her gently. Hope anyway. She nodded slowly, letting the warmth settle into her. She searched his face, and he didn't look away. The silence between them wasn't empty now. It was an invitation. Clara touched his arm. Thank you for seeing me, for stopping, for caring. Eli placed his hand over hers. You're worth caring about. Clara up. Eli's voice. Clara looked out over the land, imagining a season where she no longer ran, no longer begged, no longer feared the night. For the first time since her husband's death, her heart stirred with something fragile and bright. She whispered, I'm ready. Eli squeezed her hand. Then this is the beginning. They stayed there until the last light slipped behind the hills. Two people no longer strangers, no longer broken in the same way, but standing on the edge of a life rebuilt with honesty, trust, and slow-growing hope. Clara breathed deeply and said, Thank you, Eli. He answered softly, You don't need to thank me. Just live. Just be here. And in that moment, Clara knew she wasn't just surviving anymore. She was home. If you want more stories like this, comment below and tell me.